But if you take sin out of the equation, you're going to have a hard time grappling with what exactly is going on here.
I have seen some, as you're giving us that next passage, that I've heard, I'd say at least 3 different people that were guests. One of them is an African-American guy running for Congress, I think, in Minnesota. He used the word evil quite a bit.
Yeah.
In other words, he put it in a good and evil context about behavior, obviously, which started with the police officer that did this and started this. By the way, this guy had killed somebody before in the line of duty.
Well,
and then there was a case and they didn't prosecute him.
They said about 18 charges brought against him at some point.
But you still have things that happen, and then who is that said 10% of life is what happens and 90% how you respond? Look, lock him up, for life. What if it's found out that he's killed another man for whatever reason? I mean, obviously, when I had the description of how he should have been performing his duty, and he's not doing that without knowing his motives for whatever reason, he's broken the cycle, and he has no regard for human life. Or he's treating him just like a piece of trash here.
Right.
So yes, the guy should be, throw the book at him.
Right. And the fair part is we wouldn't paint the brush for all police officers to function like this man did. And I don't paint the broad brush of all these protesters are all thugs. They're not.
That's right.
A lot of people, and I understand they should be protesting because of what happened.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
It's the shame of it is the same bad actors, as they've been calling them, like this police officer started out, is these people that are committing all this violence. And what's sad is it against these communities.
It's terrible. But Phil's right. Look, when you keep sin and ultimately grace as the high points of which we all participate in or would like to participate in, when you think about where the line is crossed, breaking into businesses and all, we're never going to condone that. But you know what? I understand. You're mad, and rightfully so. And, if you destroyed property, I wouldn't condone it, but I would understand it. But when you start stealing and just taking it to your house and watching it, and on the way you deck somebody because they're a different color, well, wait a minute here. We're back to sin again. We just had a vicious cycle.
Well, you got to remember, if you witness a sin, the policeman with the knee on the neck way overdid it. You say, tie his feet, tie his arms behind him. 3, 4 of you get him. Throw him.
They have a protocol that he
didn't
follow. Throw in the back of the
car, and let's go to the jail for whatever happened. We'll clear it up on whether the $20 bill was bogus or not. So that's what he should have done. But he sins. Well, everybody watching it, as soon as that got in the news media, the response to that was more sin. In other words, this is a way to remedy what just happened to this unfortunate man. This is the way to remedy it. So they take off, and they're going to show us what it's like, what the remedy should look like. Well, I'm looking up, and I'm seeing looting, robbery, burglary, and throwing rocks, busting people's heads, and burn the whole thing down. That's our response to sin. More sin.
Yeah, it's bad.
So I'm just looking at it saying, they can say what they want to, but I think this is going to end up being, and it always has, being a spiritual fix